VR is the next evolution for interactive media. This is plainly obvious for anyone who has spent a short moment engaging with an experience designed for it. Even if somehow it isn't obvious to a person who has tried it, the potential should at least be clear to them. There are numerous reasons why VR is amazing for you and I. In this video, I want to tell you about just some of those things and their possibilities.
Going to plant bomb.
How do you get these bombs to work on this?
Copy. He's right there. He's right there. I'll plant it. Alright. I got my stuff. Thank you, man.
The sense of presence you feel in VR is like nothing ever experienced in media before. Just as you feel you are present wherever you are now, the same is true for experiencing VR. It's something we take for granted in daily life, of course, but for media and games, we have only ever understood these as a 2D abstracted experience until now. And VR is, I would argue, impossible to comprehend properly until you experience it for yourself. This is amazing, because never before have we been able to be a part of the worlds we create in such a direct and profound way. An artist may craft a world to meticulous detail for us to experience as best as 2D images can allow, and we can appreciate that to a limit, but the tangibility of it will always be somewhat lacking because of how much sense a 2D image loses for us. Virtual reality solves this lacking, and by doing so, it starts to open your mind to new dimensions of interactivity and connection in a natural and intuitive way. Things that we would have never considered feasible, intuitive, or enjoyable on a 2D screen take on a whole new meaning in virtual reality with the sense of tangible presence it provides. A natural evolution from the sense of presence are the connections that can be formed with the world and those inhabiting it, especially other players. Adding the additional sensory perceptions of being able to properly feel depth, closeness, size, and scale, while now also able to freely and naturally use your body to express yourself and interact, can dramatically transform your perception of what you experience into something far more intimate and personal than we have ever been able to achieve in media before. It's one thing to view another world, character, or avatar on a 2D screen. It is quite another to feel immediately present in the world with them, alongside a depth and scale akin to reality. I'll no doubt be showing some visual examples of what I just said to match my voiceover, but because you're seeing it on a 2D screen, it is absolutely nothing akin to the experience within VR. You need to try it for yourself to fully appreciate what is happening. Most of us have dabbled in a little roleplay at some point in our lives, particularly as children. Being able to escape the limitations and familiarity of your usual persona can be a very enjoyable and enlightening experience. Roleplay, escapism, fantasy, they're principally a means by how we enjoy all our media. It offers us a degree of transcendence and communication which would otherwise be much more difficult or impossible without a medium to aid us. VR takes this to a whole new level by providing the opportunity to truly, physically embody any avatar in a very tangible sense, outside of wearing the costumes in real life. No more is your avatar only limited to a set of predefined animations, chosen by somebody else, as a way to express yourself. Your natural movements and body can now be one-to-one with your avatar. If you wish to dance, rather than type /dance for a preset result every time, you can now just dance. As in you, actually dancing, however you wish, as it comes naturally and truly to you. It may seem like an insignificant detail, but stop and consider for a moment how liberating this is for a medium like gaming, and how this added freedom can open the creative door for innovation in our design and interactions with these experiences. Better yet, alongside embodying an avatar visually, in a VR world we are also able to combine this with fantastical abilities and skills, which before were only accessible to us through a detached, abstract button press of a controller and keyboard, can now be brought closer to us through the natural usage of our entire bodies in new and interesting ways. Everything you do, every emote, gesture, the speed, timing, and pace are now completely unbound from conventional limitations. You are now free, and by extension, the experience opens up hugely because of that freedom. Let's consider for a moment how amazing these could be with more specific examples. Being able to use the fine, precise motor functions of your entire body opens the door to so many possibilities and details. A simple detail such as crouching, which in nearly all games is an on or off choice with no in-between, can now also be fully dynamic. You can crouch as much or as little as you need for the situation, and your avatar can mirror this. Gesture controls and voice input were something that gaming experimented with in the early 2000s, but were ultimately abandoned as an unintuitive niche when controllers and mouse and keyboard were the only input methods. Virtual reality has the potential to bring these back in a huge and exciting way, now that we can use our entire bodies as an input method. We're already seeing this idea be put to use in a few games. Zenith, The Last City, allows you to climb on any surface like Spider-Man by simply gripping and pulling yourself around. Also, abilities and spells can be activated according to the direction that you move your arms and hands when using them. This game also allows players to glide in a unique way that leverages the fine muscle control that we naturally have. Extending one's arms to their side will activate a hover, while the angle of your hands can be used to adjust height and velocity. This makes for an incredibly enjoyable and intuitive system that feels natural and fantastic to pull off. Something that a traditional 2D experience could not even come close to replicating. The game Hot Dogs, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades makes good use of a movement scheme called Arm Swinger. Simply put, holding a button on both controllers and then moving them back and forth with your arms lets you move your avatar smoothly through the world, with a fine degree of control that is impossible with other input methods. It is admittedly a little strange at first, but it quickly becomes second nature once you get a feeling for the system. And while it may look a little silly to the outside observer watching you in reality, this sense of natural control, and thus connection it gives you in the experience, cannot be understated. Again, it is something you need to learn and experience for yourself to understand how quietly revolutionary it is. When you do these things in VR, it just makes sense, and it feels great. What's even more exciting is that these examples, already feeling great, are pretty much in their implementation infancy. There is so much more refining and improving that can still be done to make them even better, not even to mention the other ways that we may invent. Imagine that you are a magic user in a game, using your arms to trace spells or runes into the 3D space around you, alongside a voice command to activate that spell proper. Or imagine doing careful, deliberate hand movements to gradually form a fireball in front of you, which you can then reach out and grasp to use. To expand on this idea further to add more interesting nuance to it, the strength of that fireball could be determined by the speed and smoothness of your gestures. Too fast and reckless leads to a malformed, low-damage spell, but too slow causes the spell to fizzle out and fail altogether. You get the point. Imagine how detailed and creative these ideas have the possibility to be in VR, where precision, accuracy, and grace through natural body movements can allow for new, interesting, diverse, and fun skill interactions for the player to sink their teeth into. Now apply this thinking to any other basic action we have taken for granted in games with traditional controls, and a whole new dimension of possibilities emerges. We just need to open our perspectives and get out of the creative rut we've presently found ourselves in by not limiting to traditional input mindsets. To use one more example from hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades, even the simple act of reloading a weapon, which until now has been a predefined animation when pressing a button, has become an engaging, skill-based mechanic which tests a player's ability to remain calm and precise with how strictly accurate the game requires you to be. The player can now have full dynamic control of a mechanic which previously required no engagement beyond pushing a button, and becomes liberating and fun in a way we could have never imagined otherwise. Now, I don't know about you, but I've long since become tired of twitch reflexes being the only main skill factor in town for popular games. I think it's high time we brought more skill sets into the equation. A player may be a pro at twitch aiming with a perfectly stable mouse input, but using your entire body, maintaining a stable and fast aim with your arms, and being able to remain calm and accurate with your interactions while under pressure is a whole different and much more interesting story, in my opinion. The final cherry on top for all of this potential are the health benefits for us. It's no secret that our levels of fitness as a society, and especially our postures, are getting worse in our modern moment. This is especially of concern for gamers who can typically spend many hours per week playing in a passive state, slouching over their monitors, gradually degrading the conditions of their bodies in numerous ways. I have been very guilty of this throughout much of my life. VR immediately addresses this problem by allowing us to bring our full bodies back into the acts of work and play, just as our nature intended. VR can potentially begin to reverse the bad back posture epidemic that modern societies of the moment have found themselves with, and encourage a much more proactive attitude towards work and play that would directly translate to and benefit all other aspects of day-to-day activities. And perhaps most vitally, our mental health benefits through regular, proactive physical exercise. This is how we are designed to function. And it goes without saying, how physically fit we are would translate directly into how good we can play and use VR, and would also improve our health and mood, makes us more attractive, and generally able to live life more fully as we wish to. It's a win-win. I hope that what I've said has given you new insights or pause for thought regarding the untapped, exciting potential that VR has to offer our entertainment mediums, games in particular. If you're interested, I have more videos on my channel similar to this one, which showcase or cover other areas of how VR can be used to break us out of old conventions and help inspire creative originality back into our art once more. Thank you very much for stopping by, and I'll see you all again very soon.